I received, excuse me, I received a request in the comment section under one of my videos. Somebody wanted to know about a substance called epicatechin. Now, I've known about epicatechin for many years, but just out of curiosity, I was wondering why this particular person asked me about epicatechin, and then I did a search on a Google search for epicatechin, and I found that apparently it appears in dozens of supplements. And what really surprised me is that many of these supplements are touted to increase muscle mass and strength. Now, that raises the question of, well, there's a couple of questions. First of all, what is epicatechin, and what relation, if any, does it have with developing more muscle? But now if you eat fruits and vegetables, you're already averaging about 15 milligrams a day. Epicatechin is found in quite a few fruits and vegetables. It occurs in small amounts in tea, chocolate, and other foods, cocoa, real cocoa. I'm not talking about milk chocolate. It was just junk food and white chocolate and all this other stuff. Real cocoa, which has a slightly bitter taste, is a good source of epicatechin. In fact, that's one of the main elements in cocoa that provides its health benefits. Now, epicatechin is not to be confused with a substance in green tea. Epicatechin occurs naturally in green tea. It's one of the beneficial substances in green tea. Epicatechin is an antioxidant. It's one of the properties of epicatechin is that it's an antioxidant. The most familiar antioxidant, the one that makes green tea stand out, is called epicatechin gallate, which is a different substance which has considerably more antioxidant potential, let's say, or ability than straight epicatechin. But epicatechin is able to do things that EGCG, that's the acronym for the main antioxidant in green tea. Epicatechin can do things that EGCG can't do. Epicatechin is very easily absorbed. It's 82% absorbable, which is very important because a lot of these natural antioxidants like polyphenols, they're absorbed, but they're not really used. They have to be converted into an active substance, which usually occurs through certain bacteria that reside in the intestinal microbiome. They take some of these polyphenol compounds that are found in a lot of fruits and vegetables, and they convert them into a form that can be used by the body. So if you have something wrong with your microbiome, if you have an imbalance of, let's say, bacteria in your microbiome, it's called dysbiosis. A lot of these antioxidant polyphenols that you use will be useless. They're just going to pass right through you. Epicatechin is an exception because it doesn't really need to be converted by the intestinal bacteria. Besides, like I said, epicatechin is found naturally in green tea. It's found in cocoa, again, unrefined, real cocoa, not chocolate. Apples, it's found in apples. It's found in berries and several other fruits and vegetables. Like I say, it mainly functions as an antioxidant. But it does show, it does have a couple of mechanisms that aren't found with, let's say, EGCG. For one thing, it seems to raise nitric oxide. Nitric oxide, also known as NO, is a compound produced in the body from the amino acid arginine. It has a vasodilating effect. It dilates blood vessels. A lot of bodybuilders use nitric oxide boosting supplements in the hope that they'll get increased blood circulation to the muscles, which will carry more nutrients. Some studies show that natural sources of precursors for nitric oxide, such as beetroot juice. Beetroot juice contains nitrates, which are converted in the body into nitrites, which are then converted in the gut into nitric oxide. And of course, you have arginine, you have citrulline. These are all nitric oxide precursors. You can't supplement nitric oxide because it's a ephemeral gas. It's produced in several parts of the body, but in the endothelium or lining of blood vessels, and that's the one that most people are most familiar with. It's produced when arginine encounters nitric oxide synthesizing enzymes. As soon as that happens, the arginine is converted into nitric oxide. Nitric oxide only lasts for a couple of seconds. It's quickly oxidized and disappears. So it's like trying to bottle up air. I mean, you can't do it. It's just so you have to give precursors. Now, where does epicatechin come in? Well, cocoa is particularly high in epicatechin, and cocoa has been found in many studies to provide benefits such as increased brain function, increased memory function, and also it seems to protect the lining of the arteries of the endothelium, which helps prevent cardiovascular disease. But epicatechin, as an antioxidant, for some reason, is particularly effective at protecting nitric oxide. It basically, to put it simply, maximizes nitric oxide. So when you take epicatechin, you get more bang for the buck, so to speak, to use an old cliche, of nitric oxide. It's a matter of fact, taking a source of epicatechin, such as cocoa, is more efficient at maximizing nitric oxide benefits than taking a nitric oxide supplement based on arginine, because over half of the oral arginine that you consume is degraded in the gut by an enzyme called arginase. So, yeah, of course, you could work around that by taking citrulline. Citrulline is, when you take it orally, it's converted in the kidneys back into arginine, and then the arginine gets in the blood, and you get the benefits of arginine and nitric oxide. Citrulline is actually a better way to increase nitric oxide than arginine itself. And if you decide to go with the beetroot juice, you have to be aware that if you want to use beetroot juice to increase nitric oxide, you got to take it about 2.5 hours before a workout, because it takes a while to change or convert the natural nitrates found in beetroot juice into nitric oxide. You could also find natural nitrates or nitrates in other vegetables like spinach, and there's a couple other ones, kale. These all contain nitrates. In fact, much of the health benefits of vegetables, they think it comes from, a lot of people think it comes from vitamin C content and this and that. The truth is a large majority of the benefits that you get, health benefits you get from vegetables, comes from the fact that many of them do contain nitrates, which is converted in the body into nitric oxide, which will do things like lower blood pressure, help prevent atherosclerosis, increase brain circulation, and so on and so forth. So the potential benefits of epicatechin itself, as I said, because of its antioxidant and nitric oxide increasing effect, it increases brain function, cognition, which is thinking ability, and memory. In fact, the cocoa supplements that are sold, they often focus on the memory part. And there have been some studies showing that if you take concentrated cocoa supplements, which have pretty large amounts of epicatechin, it does seem to increase memory and cognition. However, that takes a while. You got to take it. The thing about natural supplements, people don't understand. People expect instant results when they take stuff like herbs, cocoa, and that kind of stuff. But unlike drugs work through interactions with enzymes. So the reactions that occur with drugs are much faster. In other words, if you have a headache, you take an ibuprofen, you'll notice relief in an hour or two, because it's inhibiting a certain enzyme that is associated with pain. But I'm not going to get into that. It's another story. But suffice to say, when you take natural substances like cocoa, it takes a while where you notice the benefits, before you notice the benefits. Same with herbs like ginkgo, many of these other natural substances. You got to give them like 2-3 months before you notice anything. Epicatechin has been also associated with better metabolic reactions, more energy, and that. Now, a 2020 review that provided epicatechin in adults aged 18 to 50, they consumed only 50 milligrams a day. That's a very moderate amount. In fact, the cocoa studies show that you need to take about as much as 700 milligrams of epicatechin to to actually notice any brain benefits. But this study, they only gave 50 milligrams in these people between the ages of 18 and 50. But despite the low dosage, they noted positive effects on memory and cognitive processes or thinking ability. Another review that was published in the journal Nutrients in 2018 found that epicatechin supported higher performance in memory tasks, executive function, and processing speed in older adults. I should also point out that substances like epicatechin are particularly useful for people over 40 who are starting to notice little memory deficits, like what they call senior moments, where you forget where you put your keys, you put something down and you forgot where you put it, that's called senior moments. Medically, it's called minimal cognitive impairment. It means that you don't have dementia, and having minimal cognitive impairment doesn't mean that you're going to get Alzheimer's or any other type of dementia. It's actually something that occurs with aging. Most people get it. It's not considered serious, but you can actually minimize minimal cognitive impairment by increasing the blood circulation within the brain, which will deliver oxygen and nutrients to the neurons or brain cells, and that will minimize minimal cognitive impairment. And epicatechin is one of the substances that's capable of doing that. There's another supplement called vinpocetine, which is considered a smart drug. It increases brain circulation. That's another way of reducing minimal cognitive impairment. But the review in Nutrients in 2000, as I said, that nutrient found that ingesting epicatechin increased brain function considerably in older adults. And it worked best for people that were over 50 years of age. And again, they think that the mechanism is that epicatechin substantially increases levels of nitric oxide, which increases brain circulation, including within the brain. And as I said, the increased brain circulation will deliver more oxygen and nutrients to keep your neurons healthy and thriving. People that do have dementia, one of the features of dementia, if you want to call it, maybe features isn't the right word, but one of the aspects of dementia is poor blood circulation within the brain. The neurons don't get enough oxygen, they don't get enough nutrients, and they die off. A 2015 study found that supplying only 1 milligram of epicatechin it's 1 milligram of epicatechin per kilogram of body weight, it actually seemed to increase fat oxidation and lowered blood glucose after a meal. The effect was greater in people that had more body fat or who were overweight, body fat, not muscle. These researchers concluded that the effects of epicatechin can mimic the benefits of a healthy diet and exercise. Another peer-reviewed paper, peer-reviewed means that, let me explain this term, peer-reviewed relating to medical journal articles means that before the article was published, it was reviewed by a number of experts in that field who confirmed that the information was worthy of publication. So a peer-reviewed article usually has more scientific support than one that's not peer-reviewed. Anyway, a peer-reviewed paper published in 2020 found that epicatechin can be useful in minimizing the development or progression of problems related to obesity, including metabolic syndrome, which is a constellation of symptoms such as a greater waist circumference, higher blood glucose, and a couple other things that are considered predictive of cardiovascular disease, including insulin resistance. So epicatechin seems to lower metabolic risk factors, let's say. Another important, and this relates to bodybuilding and exercise, is that there's some evidence that epicatechin can improve the function of mitochondria, which are called the powerhouses of the cell. Mitochondria are cigar-shaped organelles in the cytoplasm, or watery portion of the cell. The mitochondria are the site of energy production as ATP and fat oxidation, a process called beta oxidation. So if you draw, the more mitochondria, the healthier mitochondria, the greater your ability to burn fat and also increase energy through the production of ATP. There's some studies show that epicatechin can potentially increase what's known as mitochondrial biogenesis, or the development of new mitochondria. So that's extremely important to anyone working out. As a point of interest, one of the reasons why people lose muscle with age is mitochondria work on a use it or lose it basis. In other words, if you don't have a need for extra mitochondria, they tend to die out. And as the mitochondria die out, the cell that it serves also dies, or it becomes senescent, which is an inactive cell that secretes inflammatory factors. That's another story I don't want to get into here. But the point being that the studies seem to associate a loss of muscle mitochondria with a loss of muscle. So anything you want to do to maintain mitochondria or actually increase mitochondria, such as ingesting foods that contain epicatechin, will actually have a great effect on preventing muscle aging. A study a couple of years ago showed the herb ginkgo biloba, which also contains epicatechin. It actually blunted 160 genes in muscle that are known to speed the aging of muscle. And the active ingredient most likely was epicatechin and what they call ginkgolides, which are found exclusively in ginkgo. I don't want to get on a tangent. But the epicatechin, the reason why it shows up in a lot of supplements, especially supplements aimed at bodybuilders, is because early studies in humans and animals found that epicatechin was capable of increasing levels of a substance called follistatin. Follistatin is produced in the body, and one of the things it does is it inhibits or blunts the activity of another protein called myostatin. It's an antagonist of myostatin. Myostatin is basically, if you look at the word myostatin, myo means muscle, statin means stop. And that actually describes what myostatin does. It stops muscle growth. People that are born without the genes, there's two genes basically that code for myostatin. If you're born without myostatin genes, you automatically develop muscle and you have lower body fat. They've shown this in a number of, you might have seen photos online, what they call Belgian blue cattle, I believe, and certain species of dogs that lack the genes for myostatin. They're extremely muscular. They have bigger muscles and more defined muscles. So, of course, blocking myostatin would be of huge interest to any bodybuilder or anyone who wants to develop muscle. And it turns out that epicatechin actually increases follistatin levels. I should also point out that most of this, well, not most, I would say all of the so-called myostatin supplements, myostatin blocking supplements on the market, to me are garbage. There's very little evidence they work. A lot of them are based on follistatin, but how active, and they're derived from egg yolk. Egg yolk is a natural source of follistatin. Keep that in mind, all you guys who throw away the egg yolks. You're throwing away a substance that blocks another substance that prevents muscle growth. But anyway, these myostatin supplements, I don't know how much follistatin that exists in the supplements gets past the digestive process. I doubt that much of it does. When they've done the studies of these supplements, where they made claims that the myostatin supplements increase muscle mass, they usually involved people that were also involved in resistance training. Now, the problem with that is resistance training alone is one of the most effective ways of decreasing myostatin. So, was it the training or the myostatin supplement? Very difficult to say. I've yet to see a study where they've given the myostatin supplement alone and shown increased muscle growth. I haven't seen that yet. But rather than spend money on expensive myostatin blocking supplements, which probably don't work, you could eat foods containing epicatechin, or take let's say a cocoa supplement, and you'll get a pretty effective, myostatin blocker because epicatechin does increase levels of follistatin. A randomized controlled trial of older adults published in 2019 showed that 60 men with age-related muscle loss who took epicatechin or placebo for 8 weeks found that the group that received epicatechin and did resistance training, they showed a greater increase in follistatin-myostatin ratio, greater leg press and chest and a bench press strength compared to the other groups. So, in other words, while the resistance training did increase or did decrease myostatin, taking epicatechin with the weight training actually decreased myostatin more than the weight training alone. That's the point of the study. Another study from 2021 found that when subjects were given a green tea extract that's high in epicatechin for 12 weeks without exercise, the adults 60 or older increased muscle strength and hand grip strength more than a placebo group. In this group, they didn't even exercise, and they showed greater strength. Now, epicatechin, as I said, probably because of its effect on nitric oxide, supports the heart and cardiovascular system. A study from the Netherlands examined the relationship between epicatechin and the 25-year risk of cardiovascular mortality, and they found that consuming more epicatechin from food was related to a considerably lower risk of dying from heart attacks or strokes. Again, the mechanism is probably maintenance of the endothelial lining of blood vessels, prevention of atherosclerosis, and higher levels of nitric oxide, all produced by epicatechin. As far as safety goes, epicatechin is a very safe substance. It's a natural substance. A 2015 study that provided 200 milligrams a day for 5 days found no side effects whatsoever. What else can I say? Raw cocoa beans contain between 270 and 1,235 milligrams of epicatechin per 100 grams or 3.5 ounces. So it's a good source. Unfortunately, processing cocoa decreases the epicatechin content by 80%. But if you eat natural dark chocolate, you'll get a good supply of epicatechin. It's a good way to do it. What can I say? Let me see the dosage. The best dosage, at least 50 milligrams a day for increased brain benefits. Higher doses actually absorb better than lower doses. One study found that 140 dose of epicatechin was twice as bioavailable as a 70 milligram dose. So the more you take of epicatechin, the greater the dose. As I say, you can get it. There's one problem with epicatechin that I should mention, especially in regard to exercise, is that there's a study found that ingesting 100 milligrams a day of epicatechin, 100 milligrams twice a day of epicatechin inhibited aerobic adaptation to cycling exercise. This has to do with the fact that epicatechin is a powerful antioxidant, and you need a certain level of oxidation or production of free radicals to stimulate additional mitochondria during exercise. And epicatechin is so effective as an antioxidant that it blocked that effect, so it kind of blunted aerobic exercise gains. Now, strangely enough, it has no effect on anaerobic exercise. In other words, epicatechin will not affect your weight training gains. If anything, it'll help because of the fact that it increases follistatin, which as I said, is a natural myostatin blocker. Epicatechin, if you do take a supplement like green tea or a cocoa supplement, it's best to take it on an empty stomach because epicatechin is absorbed more efficiently on an empty stomach. But be aware that certain people have a genetic abnormality because they lack certain enzymes, and when they take green tea in larger doses, it can cause liver problems, including liver inflammation. But the strange thing is when these same people, if they take green tea extract, which by the way is far more concentrated than actual green tea, far more concentrated in EGCG and other substances. If they take green tea with food, they don't have any problem. So if you're a little bit afraid or alarmed about green tea and liver problems, take it with meals, because they found that taking it with meals doesn't cause any problems. So again, if you want to depend on food for epicatechin, tea, cocoa, vegetables, fruits, especially apples and berries. So as I say, the average person from those sources takes in only 8 to 20 milligrams a day, which isn't that much. So I think that about covers it for epicatechin. I think that answers most of the questions. Full disclosure, I've been taking a cocoa supplement myself because of the epicatechins. I don't really eat enough fruits and vegetables to give me sufficient epicatechins. So my philosophy about supplements is to supplement what I'm not getting in my regular diet. If I'm getting in my regular diet, I don't need to supplement. So I take a lot of supplements because my diet is very limited. But one of the supplements I only take it once a day. I take a cocoa supplement. I take 3 capsules that provide 750 milligrams of cocoa polyphenols, which has a considerable amount of epicatechins. And I take it from brain function. I'm not so much taking it. It does help nitric oxide, which is a definite bonus. But I take it mainly to help increase my brain blood circulation. And as I said, I took this supplement. I didn't notice any difference until I took it for about 2 months. So be aware that if you take these kind of supplements, they take a while to kick in. Don't expect instant results. So that's about it for epicatechin. I responded to a comment, as I do try to do that. And you're welcome to leave comments under my videos about any topics you want me to cover in future videos. And by all means, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's completely free. And I put out a new video every Tuesday. And also, if you really want to go into very much in-depth, far more than I could in any possible video, subscribe to my Applied Metabolics publication at www.appliedmetabolics.com, where I cover a wide variety of topics: nutrition, supplements, ergogenic aids, hormone therapy, anti-aging research, effective fat loss techniques, women's health and fitness. All of that's covered in Applied Metabolics. There's no other digital publication like it, and there's no other digital publication that has 60 years of experience and constant studying and knowledge behind it from me. So, except for Applied Metabolics. Again, that's www.appliedmetabolics.com. When you subscribe, send me an email, and I will send you an invitation to join my private Applied Metabolics Facebook page, where each day I post brand new information on nutrition, exercise science, and general medicine. There's an email portal on my Applied Metabolics webpage. That's current subscribers only. I don't accept unsolicited questions, but current subscribers only could send me short questions about anything they might have read in Applied Metabolics or anything that comes to mind pertaining to nutrition and exercise. And in appreciation of their subscription, I will answer their questions. So, again, this is only for subscribers. So that's about it. What else can I say? If you want to have the best fun you'll ever have, go to your local shelter, adopt a dog. Any dog. Listen, these shelters, I know people have a preference for certain breeds of dogs. Let me tell you, you go to a shelter, they have every breed you can think of. From the tiny little Chihuahuas to the big old Great Danes, they have them all. And all these dogs are just beautiful souls. They're just great, including the pit bulls. Don't believe the crap you hear about pit bulls. Any pit bulls that appear to be vicious were made that way by being treated cruelly. Scumbags, they get these pit bulls, they abuse them, they beat them, and they make the dogs mean. But pit bulls themselves are naturally gentle, sweet dogs. They used to be called nanny dogs because in the early 20th century, people used them as babysitters for their infants. That's how sweet and gentle they are. So don't believe anything you hear about pit bulls being naturally vicious killers. It's complete BS. So I'll just leave it at that. Thank you for listening.